those of you that don't know me, let me introduce myself. I'm Suzanne Titkemeyer. I used to write for 10 years for a Pathos column called No Longer Quivering. I'm no longer doing that. I'm working on a book right now about moving to Costa Rica because after my husband of many years retired, we picked up stakes and moved to Costa Rica. And a lot of people I know are trying to become expats. And there's a lot to recommend the expat lifestyle. I'm currently writing a book called How Not to Move to Costa Rica. We did a lot of things right when we made our move, but we did a lot of little things wrong too. Um, and that's the stuff that can trip you up when you move here, cost you money, frustrate you, the whole 9 yards. So my book and video series is going to be all about that. It's going to be entirely about the move. I don't want you to experience the gringo shuffle. What is the gringo shuffle, I hear you ask? The gringo shuffle is what I have named this lovely dance that, and it's not endemic to Costa Rica, it also happens other places. When you move someplace where the populace is pretty, how do I say this nicely? Maybe not economically advantaged. You're moving to a country where there's a lot of poverty or there's not very much money to be made or had or whatever. And everybody tries to get the North Americans money because they perceive that you're rich. And I guess compared to many places, most of us who are Americans, we're privileged, we're entitled, the whole 9 yards of the whole, we've got it going on and we don't even know. We're griping that Starbucks doesn't have the right kind of coffee, where there are places out there that don't have coffee at all. That's juice. I'm not drinking this early. It may be Costa Rican. I may be relaxed, but it's not quite like that. Why am I starting with this particular thing? Because I watched a friend of mine the other day make the big mistake. Now, she didn't move to Costa Rica, she moved to Albania. Minimal research, and she went with her confirmation bias, which is she had just decided to become an expat and that Albania would be her best choice because it's so cheap and all these different things. So everything she was wanting, she looked at and said, "Hey, that's Albania." She overpaid for her apartment. She does not speak Albanian. She's never visited Albania. She knows nothing about their rules and their laws or their visas or any of that beyond that they'll let her in for a year. She assumed wrongly that because there's socialized medicine there, that she would be able to have medical care for free. She made assumptions about receiving her Social Security, disability checks, which you can't do from overseas for more than 30 days, about working, and a whole host of other things. And she never once bothered to read the U.S. State Department's page on recommendations for Albania. Had she done that, she would have never have gone for more than a week. Pro tip number one, if you become an expat, one of the best things you can do is to sign up for updates from the local U.S. Embassy. They offer that via email, and it's great because they send you emails and let you know when there's things happening. Like they sent us emails right before there was a big strike here that pretty much paralyzed the entire country. They sent us notices when violence started happening in Nicaragua. It was a number of things that can impact your life. And with the COVID situation, they're sending the regulations, the COVID regs, whenever they happen. And since we're going under lockdown, coming out of lockdown, going under lockdown, coming out on, it's really important, particularly if you drive here, which we do. We have our car here. You need to know what license plate could go into San Jose on what day. It's quite important to know those things. And the best way to do that is to sign up for that U.S. Embassy thing. So, how do we pick Costa Rica? How do you pick any country? For us, it was research, research, research. Fortunately, since I'm a writer, research is my jam. I love to research, and I do it on any number of things, including lots of stupid things. Um, we knew we wanted to be in a warm tropical climate where we could have a pool, which we have. I could show you. Um, or we could be near the beach. We could go to the ocean. It had to be somewhere with a great medical network of doctors for expats that we could afford. We had to have some place. Well, we didn't have to. We wanted a place with a lower cost of living than the Northern Virginia, Washington, D.C. area where we were living, which has a quite high cost of living. Needed to be near a major airport. We need to have a beach. Need to be peaceful, very peaceful, low key, and with low crime. Um, and a decent standard of living. Those were our considerations. Well, after we looked around a little bit, we both decided that maybe Central America was the way to go. It was close enough, 3 hour flight, you'd be home again if something happened. Um, and as we looked, we decided we also like the idea of a country that invests in the education of its people as opposed to military. So that moved Costa Rica closer to the top of the list. We started with Central America, started researching, reading, visiting, asking people. I wanted Belize, and my husband was pushing from day one for Costa Rica. He looked at a bunch of videos by people like Jamie Pellegro from the Jamie Pellegro bookstore here in Tamarindo. He looked at videos by Nadine. Nadine, she has a book called Happier Than a Billionaire that's excellent that we read. I can't remember her name right now. I'm having a senior moment. We just knew that as seniors, we wanted to live somewhere peaceful, quiet, and just absolutely beautiful. Ruled out Guatemala, Mexico, and El Salvador right off the bat because of some of the violence going on there. Belize was beautiful, but it was far more costly than what we wanted to spend. We had to rule Nicaragua out. I'm glad we did because after we moved here in April of 2017, there was violence again in Nicaragua, government sponsored violence and deaths. It's still not a place that we go. We do not go. The other thing that's scary about Nicaragua is you have armed military everywhere. I get nervous when I have to go across the border and there's 25 guys with AK-47 standing there. It's just something that I don't like. The other thing that was the problem with Nicaragua is there's such endemic poverty there. People don't, I mean, the last time I've seen poverty like that is places like Haiti or Africa. Nicaragua is just not very prosperous. So we ended up going to Costa Rica. We spent almost 5 years, 3 years, not 5 years, 5 years planning and researching. And we started visiting. We started coming on a regular basis. Costa Rica has microclimes. So any kind of climate you could ever possibly want, they have it. There's mountains, there's ocean, and there's every climate in between. Personally, for me, if it was just me here, I'd be moving to a tennis because I have no asthma when I'm there. I could actually breathe, and I can't always do that here in Tamarindo because of the humidity and the pollen and the various things. Um, Costa Rica has no military. So, none of their gross national product is going towards supporting the military, which makes it possible for them to provide more for their people, such as socialized medicine and free education. There's no pollution. That's a big one for me because I have severe asthma and I tend to react if there's smoke or whatever. Um, the people here seem very peaceful and happy. They're very friendly, outgoing. I just really like the vibe of the local people, the local Costa Ricans, the Ticos here. Costs a lot less here for everything except gasoline and electricity. And some things that you buy, anything imported is going to be expensive, but we buy way too much stuff anyway. Again, they had mountains, they had beaches, and everything in between. There's every kind of thing you could want here, except for maybe snow skiing. Oh, there's no winter. For me, that is a huge one. I have shoveled way too much snow in Northern Virginia to ever want to shovel snow again. In fact, I laugh when we bought our house. The realtor, he has a big sign that says, free lifetime snow removal if you buy